Hey everyone, this is Josh back with Cardboard Chronicles, and today I'm speaking with Jameel, owner of the Meelypops shop. Jameel, how's it going, man?
I'm doing great. So excited to do this with you.
I know we've been talking about it for a while, and I'm really excited to have you on. So why don't you just kick us off? Tell us about yourself, tell us about your background in the hobby, and what got you started.
Man, I've been around the game for a while, ever since I was a kid in the '90s, as many of your viewers, Josh. I started collecting the junk in the early '90s baseball. I grew up in St. Louis, so I was a big Cardinals fan, and just the '91 tops, '92 tops, and so I think what hooked me the most about collecting cards when I was little was just the fact that I could take my heroes and encapsulate them and have them build sets. I used to build team sets all the time. I had an Ozzie Smith like PC that I built of all just like flea market cards, but just kind of that's where I think it all started with the Cardinals, and that was really my only team ever growing up watching sports, old Bush Stadium and stuff. And so I went to high school. I was still kind of collecting here and there. My dad got into it. We started doing the flea market thing. I'm sure many of you have done that in the early to mid '90s, where there was like a gazillion boots. And so I did a bunch of flea market stands selling cards, and then I used to do like garage sales and make like grab bags. And I was like 8, 9, like I was like killing it. And I used to make like grab bags. There was a kid, he just messaged me. He's like 30, I'm 33, and he said to me something when we opened up our store. He was like, Jameel, I remember when I used to like buy your grab bags for like $3. You were like the hottest stand. And I used to hook people up with rookie cards and put sweet basketball cards in and stuff. So anyway, that's how I kind of just grew to liking buying and flipping, selling cards as a kid, but really collecting what I liked, what I wanted. Ozzie Smith started it, and then college came. So I went to University of Florida here in Gainesville, and college, as many people have probably shared with you, was kind of this hiatus for them, whether they got too busy, they got a girlfriend, whether they were just other things going on. And for me, I just kind of took a step away from collecting. Now, I graduated high school in '03, and I started college and ended in '08. So like when it comes to like one of my passions, which is basketball, I missed like one of like the most crucial times. And I know if I was really like diehard, I would have been in it to win it, so to say. So anyway, got out of college in '08. I got a master's degree, started practicing, and I started obviously gaining a little bit of money, disposable income. And one of the funniest things, a lot of people don't know about this forum site, maybe some people do. It's called Sports Card Forum, SCF, some people will call it. I got to give them props because that was when I started to learn, I think, from the business side to the collecting side. I could take cards, trade with people what I don't want, and get what I want using things like Photo Bucket. And it really changed kind of how I viewed collecting. So I started to realize I could go to shows, started setting up at shows here in North Florida, started buying people out at shows, buying kind of small lots at first, and then realizing I can make money, keep a card here, keep a card there, buy some more, keep a card here. And it just slowly started to grow and grow and grow. So it's 2018. We've been an official LLC for about, I think, 4 years now, and to go back and check that. But I've been kind of in the card world for the last 8, 10 years, since really 2008. That NFL rookie class, I remember Matt Ryan, Joe Flacco, Ray Rice, Deshaun Jackson, Darren McFadden. That was like what got me back into cards and basketball specifically, and around those years with Durant, Curry, just the basketball rookie years really captivated me back into it. So it's a little bit about me and my background. I'll kind of share it now to kind of answer it. People always say, why the heck do you call your shop and everything Meelypops?
Yeah, just go ahead and answer it now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things I got to live with. So as a kid, my name is Jameel. People call me Mealy. I used to be called Jameel O'Neal on the East Coast of Florida, man. I used to love that one. But I had all these different names, J-Mo, but Mealy was one that stuck. I used to Jameel, Jameely. And when I used to play basketball and soccer as a kid, when I weighed like a whole lot less and I was very athletic, I guess I ran funny. And people said I looked like an old man running. So they would call me Pops. And it started with my uncle in England and all this crazy stuff. So long story short is Meelypops kind of stuck. And my uncle started calling me, my mom did, then people on my soccer team and basketball team and people around me did. And I don't know what it was, but maybe like in middle school, I made my first email, meelypops@yahoo.com. I remember I made my screen name Meelypops, and I just stuck with it. Well, when we started the business, I was like, let's just have fun with it. I talked to my wife. I was like, let's just call it the Meelypop Shop, whatever. This is 8 years ago. Didn't think it'd become anything. Fast forward to the national, this year and the past 4 years. Hey, are you Meelypops? Are you that guy, with a weird name? And I'm like, yeah, that is me. And it just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And I gotta live with it, bro. Like
Yeah.
I gotta take it. And it's cool. I mean, people call me Meelypops. Our Instagram shop, Meelypops. You can find us on Facebook, Meelypop Shop, and it is what it is. So it's a different name. It's kind of goofy sounding, but at the same time, I think it's memorable.
Yeah.
So
It stands out at the show for sure.
yeah,
And your thread on Blah is always really good because you always recap, the national really well, and people love that thread. And the name sticks out for me and like the thread title.
yeah. I was really fortunate and blessed to. I don't know what it was. I just thought one day after the Chicago National last year, let me just write a thread from a dealer's perspective that was honest and kind
Yeah,
of raw.
totally.
And I did, and it like got sticky, which I didn't even know what that was at first with forums. And then I was like, oh wow. And then I think the GTS Live guys were like, hey, we're gonna talk about you. And somebody else messaged me, some other place messaged me, and I was like, wow, Blowout really has this incredible like reach that
Yeah.
you'd forget about.
Yep.
And so yeah,
I think it's great, dude. All right, so we know you're a dealer, but I want to hear kind of your PC side of things. So, like, what do you collect? What do you focus on? And why do you collect those things?
sure. So I kind of showed you back in the day. I love if I can find like a really unique Ozzie Smith card because it brings back kind of the childhood memories, high grade rookie card, things like that. This is fun for me. Cardinals here and there. Pujols was my guy. So that kind of try and stick to, what founded, this shop, what founded, the passion I have for this, which is Cardinal stuff. Here and there, I might get a nice, cool Stan Musial piece or whatever. And so that to me is something I really enjoy. But I think my passion is basketball. I mean, the more I think about it, I love all cards. Like I do. I love every aspect of cards. I've gotten into soccer. I've gotten into like gaming with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. Really understanding that market. Charizard is the Michael Jordan of Pokemon, bro.
Yep.
And like just doing those kind of things it's been fun. But basketball to me has kind of been the innate, drive, finding rare things, finding things that I enjoy. Jordan has always been close to me, close to my heart. I've always thought he's been the GOAT forever. I just love his killer instinct. I'm not going to debate you, LeBron folks, but I think that just what he's brought to the table and how he never allowed someone to come back in a game. And so, anyways, I just enjoyed collecting his stuff. I have a couple of nice Jordan things. I've had some nice Jordan things that I've had to sell. I can share some stories too about what I've done with some Jordan items, but in a way, I know this might sound crazy, Josh. My PC is kind of ever changing, and
Yeah.
some of the stuff that I really love, sometimes I might move, and that really is because of the bottom line. It really is because I have a business now with a set standard overhead expense, and so there are times that I've had to sell some things that I didn't really want to. That's okay. I mean, I put so much into it, from a resource standpoint.
Yeah.
Had to move it. But Jordan's up there. I love Durant. I mean, Durant's my boy. I think he gets a bad rap. He collects some cool Durant stuff. Let's see, LeBron. You can't go wrong with LeBron in basketball. I enjoy some of his really unique cards. Had an opportunity to attempt to broker a deal this year at the National for one of his exquisite RPAs. Didn't work out, but just it's crazy the world of basketball, man. I mean, think about the LeBron RPA,
Yeah.
exquisite. I mean, that card is just astronomical, and it's beautiful to see so many people just like adore it and have fun with that card. So
Right. Yeah, that's great, man. So why don't you try to take me through a day in the life of a dealer. I think it's hard for us to like put ourselves in your shoes and understand like what goes on day to day. So try to summarize that for everybody.
sure. I think the one thing that people miss when it comes to being a dealer is you're not thinking about yourself and your collection anymore.
Yeah.
Is you're thinking about how can I grow my business. So in a way, my collection is my business, and people will always say to me, I love the people that like look at the stuff and like, wow, you got a nice collection.
Yeah.
And I love that statement because in a way, like it is my collection, but it's all for sale. There are some things that of course I keep in the security deposit box, but at the same time, there are times when I may decide to move some of those things at the right time. Um, Wax is way more important once you own a store than I ever thought it would be.
Yeah.
I'm not a crazy current wax. I never have been a crazy wax guy, but I've learned to, I think, appreciate the thrill of it more so than I ever have before. So that's like one thing I would tell people. If you've ever like thought about opening a store, if you ever thought about just getting real about it, maybe making a business out of it, beyond the eBay game, beyond the Instagram game, beyond the world of the PayPal invoicing and all that, which is great. Like stay on that grind. That's awesome that you do that. But if you ever want to open a brick and mortar, there's really just low margins you've got to consider. You've got to really cater to a lot of different needs for customers. And wax, like I was saying, it's a wild game, you know. Without going into too much detail, I'm sure people have heard it many times, but the way allocations work, the way distribution channels are working,
Yeah.
how hard it is to get a like a direct account. So, for example, like I'm working with Tops, like having a super hard time getting a direct account with them. Um, just started with Panini, and these things are like vital to like making money. People want new wax, so that's been like in a way a little bit of a drag to start. I'm just being real and honest. Being a, kind of a tough window to try and keep open is finding wax, getting what you need, getting it at the right margins, and then you have to sell through it quickly because, as you know, a lot of wax it drops. You know,
Yeah.
this last year in basketball was kind of an anomaly, I think. Speaking of basketball, I mean, football is crazy this year. But last year, this 17-18 class, I mean, everything seemed to sell through. Will it be like this in 18-19? I don't know. I don't think people thought 17-18 was going to be like this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's ever changing. Something that I always am kind of focused on too is like the buys. I think people forget the margin element of that. And I say this to people out there who are always like maybe looking to sell to a dealer or whatnot. Um, there are dealers who are jerks and they're pricks and they're going to treat you like crap. Just let them be that way. But there's a lot of guys out there who are really trying to buy at the right price, and they're not trying to beat you up on it or whatnot. They have to make a certain margin, and that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah.
To own a card shop, I got to keep the lights on. I got to give you toilet paper when you use my bathroom, and I gotta pay for the Wi-Fi. So, get alone rent and keep paying for everything else. So there's kind of a bit there. Inventory counts, keeping up with inventory. That's one thing. We just got a truck delivery. I'm exhausted today. It's 11:30 on the East Coast, and like I've been at the store all day. So I really like. I know it's cliche, but you have to grind and you have to really make it work. It's nothing comes easy, you know. I mean, if it does come easy and the guy walks in with a 52 mantle and you know just wants to offload it to you, I mean, props to you. But I don't find that many incredible buys. You do get an opportunity to make buys and good buys, but like those incredible buys and those things that you may hear of on some report, some internet article, it doesn't happen as much as you think.
Yeah. Well, I was really happy to bring you on just because I haven't had a dealer yet, and I like to keep the empathy going between the two sides. Like I feel like there's just a pretty big disconnect, especially at national with a lot of people, and I never got that sense with you. So I thought it was great to have you come on and like kind of give your side of it and create that like lessen that gap and increase the empathy between the sides.
Yeah.
Um, One thing I asked you about it before, and we sort of like are playing with the question: how long do you hold cards, and how do you balance the time aspect of holding a card to try to get the value to go up over time, but also knowing that you have to sell stuff to keep the lights on, like you said.
Yeah, man. I wish I had like the golden answer for you, but I think I can break it down. I think it comes down to like potential and what your potential you believe in a card is going to be, right? So let's use an example like Prism 17-18, right? Crazy product for basketball. People go nuts over it. You buy into a lot of it. Maybe you're one of those folks that, you know, Walmart and Target every morning, buying every blaster and rack pack and every single thing you can do. You know, and for me, like I get these cards, whatever. You pick up these cards, you watch the players. But like for me, Tatum silvers and Donovan Mitchell silvers, or whatever variant you want to talk about it. The case hits, the sparkles, the low number. I mean, there's so many different colors now. It drives me crazy. But you have to say to yourself, where's this card going to be able to reach, and what's that time frame going to look like? And like thinking about potential for something as from a time frame perspective of what do you actually believe in the card. So holding a card for me, I'm not a big fan of holding potential guys that I have to pay quite a bit for. I'm happy to hold guys that I believe in, I prospect on. I'm happy to hold guys that are cheap enough that I can get them in lots. You have to kind of think, when you buy a massive collection of something, what's the goal? Is the goal to flip it? Is the goal to make your money back and then hold it, which a lot of people do? I'm actually more, I think, akin to that. I like to make my money back, but keep the cards that I think have big potential. And then, slow play the rest of the stuff. It's great for me because of inventory, having a lot of stuff. I made a massive buy last year, and every major basketball rookie that I thought would have some sort of value, I just kept, and I've had that stuff for the last year or two. I made my money back on a lot of things here. For example, baseball prospects, things of that nature. I'm not a big prospector in baseball. You lose your butt on that stuff.
Yeah.
So, just kind of paying attention at times. Playoffs are key. I think if you watch a team in the playoffs, you think they're going to go a certain place in the playoffs, sell it to that point where you think they're going to go. If you don't think they're going to make the finals and you hold it to game 7 and they lose, you can lose a lot of money. That's happened to me before as well, where I've kind of got a little greedy on that aspect. So it comes down to potential. It comes down to what you truly believe as a fan. I will say one thing, and I've noticed this. I call it the PC blinders. And I see guys who will be really big on certain players, and to the masses, they're not that big. But for some reason, you've in your superpower, for your personal collection, belief, you think this guy is going to be great, and then what happens is you slowly lose a lot of value without realizing it. If you're purse collecting somebody, you just like it, do that. That's awesome. Rock on with that. I love seeing people do that. But if you're trying to do it from like a element of making the most bang for your buck, be very careful. I would encourage you to talk to people, read up on these guys, get different resources, follow a couple of writers, follow a couple even trainers, things like that you can follow on social media. Just kind of see what they're saying. Don't be somebody who's naive and thinking that just because they look bad for a month, they're gonna rebound. Maybe it's time to sell like right now. So there's a lot to it on that side. You can never go wrong with graded things. I think if you hold graded vintage basketball, vintage baseball, vintage football, you're always going to usually come out on top with that stuff, especially high grade stuff. Everyone knows that. 90s inserts. I think about basketball and how much I love that stuff, and just seeing it. Where's the peak for that? The ceiling just continues to just seem to grow and grow and grow. Basketball is so iconic. So in a lot of ways, I guess what I'm saying when it comes to basketball, don't be afraid, to sell. But I think you're not doing a bad thing by holding stuff right now. And basketball is just king in my eyes in terms of value, prospecting on people. It blows my mind how much like Derrick Rose low number stuff will sell for.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that where you could probably keep and hold that stuff and still make something on it. So again, he was an MVP and whatnot, but yeah, I'm not giving you a straight answer.
It's not a straight question. So
Yeah, man, it's crazy, and everything is so different. Something I've been investing in, and I don't want to give away all my secrets, but I've been looking at trends, culture.
Yep.
So, for example, like the millennial generation, they're all getting jobs. I'm part of the millennial generation. I'm the old guy in the millennial generation, but like we're all getting jobs. You all have this disposable income. So, what was nostalgic for you? It may not be basketball cards. It might be something like gaming or Pokemon or graded stuff from like high end from back in the mid 90s, or it might be those mid 90s inserts where I see people spending more and more in kind of that element. They want to buy it. They do buy it. They spend a lot for it. Maybe you grade the stuff. Maybe you pick up some things that are, quite juicy, as I like to call it. And it's time to hold that. Yeah, I think the market is a ripe one. It's crazy. We're in a great economy. It's a great time to collect. It's a great time to buy. It's a great time to see what cards can go for, especially when you get the rare stuff. So
yeah, man, dude, I agree with everything you're saying there. So next question. This is kind of a this is a tough question, and people ask me this all the time too. What do you love about cards most? Because like you're not gonna like be into this full time unless there's something innate in the cards themselves that you just love. and the hobby and just all of it. So how would you like summarize just what you love about everything that drove you to do this full
Nice.
time?
Sure. I, I'm kind of like a, I kind of can be goofy sometimes, and I just get excited. Just I don't know if it's just the childhood, getting a good hit, or seeing a cool card, or just seeing like the guy play out on television. Like a big thing right now, I just obtained a pretty nice Mahomes, and I just love like how he plays the game. So like for me, like there's a young talent embodied in something that has value to me. I have his autograph; it's low numbered, and there's kind of a connection there. I feel like with sports, where you can actually pull something that's really unique and tangible. For me, I love seeing like now that I'm a store owner, right? I get a lot of kids in the store with their dads. It's so awesome to like encourage the kids. Like we have a couple little kids right now. One of them is like a Cleveland Browns fan. His dad's a Browns fan, and I watch like how much he loves the Browns. And his other son is a Lions fan, and his dad just like supports him in it. And like in a way, that childhood like collecting, being about a certain player for no reason, you just blindly root for somebody. It's so cool to like what I mean, cultivate that and culture that. And so we have packs, and we had kids coming the other day, and they had the report card, and I gave them free packs, and like it meant the world to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that has been a really unique aspect that I haven't really experienced. Just being the guy on eBay and Blowout and Amazon and doing all that jazz. So it's been really cool to just I think cultivate kind of a new generation of collectors. It's really cool to I think talk to people about what they enjoy, because then it reminds me a little bit about why I did all this in the beginning, why you did what you do, why you PC penny, why you know what I mean, like
Yep.
all of those things. Like what's your deal, bro? Like why are you doing that? You can see in other people.
Yeah.
And another thing that I really like is maybe meeting somebody who may not have a lot of money or a lot of resource income, but they might be able to get in a break, or they might be able to get in something, and maybe they do hit, or they get something really unique in their pack, and like how much that card means to them. Versus me, where I'm like constantly buying, selling, margin. What do I need to do? It's so neat to like be humbled in that moment and just realize, wow, that card means so much to him, and I might just think, oh, well, there's a $15 insert, but it's so dope for that kid or that guy who's just getting back into collecting. So I kind of answer that question vicariously as I live through my customers, but I also enjoy, just the connection that cards bring. Something that's been cool, I think, with cards, especially the last 10 years, is it seems like they're doing a better. They're trying, I think, to reach the customer better, to make it more interactive with the times, to reach a different generation. Some of the stuff doesn't always work, but I'm glad that they're trying it. I think when we collected back in the 90s and the 2000s, it was just kind of flatline thing. You just collected, and here were some cool cards. We can appreciate those cards a lot more now, but I can see how the use of social media. Like I just loved seeing at the national, 10-year-old kids with their little silver briefcases come up to your table. Like we've created this whole new like world of like sharks, and it's just funny to see them. Like you can tell them, right? You can tell the Instagram kid. You can tell them all with their silver boxes. They lay it on your table. They've all got their eBay sale values down to like the last 3 hours, and you're sitting there thinking like, how can you even talk to these people? But it's pretty cool. I enjoy that. I enjoy the banter back and forth, and something I don't know if you've ever dealt with me or you ever talked to me. Like even if I don't buy something from you, like I'm gonna have fun talking to you about sports or joke with you or just be goofy. And I think we need more of that in the hobby. Like I love like watching the guys that you bring on. They're so passionate. I love meeting people who are passionate about cards and don't care about the bottom line, who just want something that they enjoy. I think that's missing, and we need to do a better job. I heard somebody just recently talk about how I think it's on us. He was talking about just kind of the uniqueness of the 90s refractors and numbered cards and die cuts and hard to find inserts, and how some of that knowledge I think stays with us. And I think not just that knowledge, but I think the excitement, the personality, like being about cards, being excited for somebody else, like legitimately not superficial, like legitimately excited they just hit some of their PC cards, or you were able to get something to trade for that person. Like that needs to come back to collecting. It's not all about ourselves. It's all about the
Yeah.
atmosphere. It's all about helping each other out. And I'm not tooting my own horn here, but like as I meet customers, I always think like, hey, you just pulled from that pack. Have you met like Johnny over here or Richie over there? They would love to trade with you for that card. So we just set up a trading day in our store, and it was like so awesome the first time. Like we had like 30 people in our little store just crammed around. Our first event we really ever did, and we just had another one just recently. What was really well attended, and I hope to cultivate that some more. You know what I mean? Like bringing high end, low end, mid end, young kid, old guy, all together to really enjoy the hobby.
Well, answers are usually subjective, but that is just a fact. That was just like the best answer possible. I'll just say it. Like
Dang.
you just hit on everything, dude. That the whole reason I started this channel is like exactly what you're saying. Like it's not about, the dollars and cents and the cards. It's about the people, right? And the connections between everybody. It's about getting the
Yeah.
kids involved. I know Nat touched on that a lot, and I think that's the most important thing facing the hobby right now is getting these young kids excited about it. And being at National, you and I were at the Instagram event. We could just see like the passion coming out in all the kids, and it's fantastic. I'm
Yeah.
That was just a
Awesome.
fantastic answer. I just need to like get that into a clip and make that like my headline. That was so great.
Thanks, man.
Um,
Yeah. It wasn't that good. Don't. It was just all right.
I mean, this is what separates you as like one of the better dealers, right? It's just like you're genuine and honest, and you just have like a good outlook on the hobby, and it's not all about like this cutthroat part of it that most people think it is.
Yeah. I mean, there's a side of it where people I've met, and I'm not perfect. I mean, I'm not somebody who doesn't want to make money. I mean, obviously, like that's what business is. But I think if you become that jaded, you're never going to be able to come back. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like you've gone too far, you've walked the plank, you're in the
yeah,
water. Um, and there has to be an element here where I've talked to people and they'll say to me things like, "Hey, you just gave that kid a good deal. Why? You didn't make anything on it. You just bought that lot from somebody. You're probably not going to make anything. That was a pity purchase." I've done that before, and I don't really care. I mean, it's like if somebody's really trying to make some money. I've had guys come in my booth and uh, I need to make $1,000 or I need to make 500 because there's this card over here I gotta get. I know it's going to sell. They could be lying to me. I don't know, but I try my best to like hear them out, and maybe I will make a deal with them. Maybe I don't want to take that whole lot, but if I know that, like, and I know this happened in the national a few times, people brought those cards back to me, and they were like, "Hey, check out what I found. Like, thanks for helping me out." And I just think, man, if that was all I needed to do to help like this guy enjoy life, enjoy collecting, and not be so jaded towards it, like, all right, I did something right today.
yeah, man. You need to like speak out more and like get more involved in the community. I know you're super involved being a dealer, but we need to just like get you out even more because this is what it's about, dude. Like we just got to keep
Yeah,
talking about it.
yeah.
Um,
And real quick, I know you don't want props, but props to you, man, for like trying to utilize like, I mean, just YouTube and what we have out there to bring this together. Because I've been watching some of the videos. I haven't watched them all. I mean, don't crucify me, but I've seen a lot of them, and I just enjoy like collecting when we get together and we have time.
yep,
You know what I mean? It's like we could chill, we could talk cards. It doesn't have to be about how I can be one up on you or you one up on me.
yep.
We can have fun with it. You know what I mean? We can joke. Like you brought up the Instagram party. There was this time when Josh was there. I think about Justin was there and Rodman was there. I mean, all these people were there. We're just sitting around this round table like a bunch of old farts and just reminiscing about all these old cards and shit cards that we have
We're
and
only
just
30.
just
We're not.
yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, we're at an Instagram party. Remember that.
Yeah,
It was just kind of fun to kind of be in that atmosphere and just realize like collecting. I don't know. Collecting doesn't have walls. It shouldn't have walls. And if it does, like you should reassess what you're about. We should have fun with it. You know what I mean?
yeah, totally. And when you came on before, you mentioned a couple of things like, trying to talk about basketball, trying to talk about 90s, because that's sort of what you've seen from some of the other guys. And I told you, like, ignore all the other videos you've seen. And I'll say this to everyone else that I interview: ignore everything else you've seen and just come on and talk about what you want to talk about, because it's going to come out more. It's going to come out more naturally. You're gonna have more fun with the interview, and it just ends up being a better conversation in the end, anyways. And plus, we'll
Sure.
we'll, we'll hit on more topics. We'll spread out more things, and it'll kind of make everyone feel involved on. Everyone has their niche in the hobby, their piece to it, and it's kind of cool to hear everyone's side of it.
Yeah. And you know what's so cool about the national this year? Um, I think more so than the past years. And I'm not a national like vet, but I just got a chance to like walk and a little bit and talk to different people. I feel like more people are trying to become not just so focused on one aspect of collecting now. And I think that the internet and it allows for um, us to really, I don't know, be captivated by other types of cards. Uh, when I grew up, like I'll share this really quick. Like Pokemon, for example, I thought was like the stupidest thing. You know, and in the '90s, my brother used to play the Game Boy game. It would annoy the crap out of me, and like I just would think like, what is the purpose of this? You know. So fast forward to 2018, like I was able to deal an $18,000 Charizard at the National. You know what I mean? I was able to, in the last 3 years, do a unique signing opportunity event with one of the biggest illustrators from the Pokemon franchise. I was able to work with PSA to help them create their exemplar for that artist. I was able to, meet some people at the National this year. Zach, I mentioned him before, and I was able to help set up a sale for a first edition booster box that was worth probably 40 grand last year. You know what I mean? All these crazy things that have come up in just one little franchise that I used to just think, oh man, if I have this, people are going to think I'm an idiot, I'm a dork, I'm a nerd, whatever. And I just got over that. I was like, forget it. Like, this is actually working, and there's a huge collectible market. I'll show it real quick. This is the first edition Charizard, right? So the first edition Charizard. I don't have a PSA 10. That last one sold, I think, for 33K. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Crazy, that card. But like this card, I found my own niche. It's one of the first. Let's see if I can get a little closer to the camera. There you go. It's one of the first edition. I think it's the first or the second of the pop that's autographed by the original illustrator on the card.
Wow.
So Mitsuhiro Arita autographed that, and like being able to be around that, share that with people in the Pokemon community, and then like bridge sports cards and Pokemon, for example, is so cool. Like PSA, like a lot of kids don't like in the Pokemon community, don't like Beckett, but they'll be about PSA. So how cool is it for them to see a Charizard, but then might see like a 1958 Mantle in your case with the same label, and then you can talk about grading. And I can't tell you how many kids in the last maybe 2 months have done PSA orders with us for Pokemon cards, and they're learning about grading, and they're learning about collecting, and things I've learned from them. Things that I've bought, and I've realized, wow, this is a really lucrative market where it's not that hard to learn. You got to take maybe swallow some humble pie and take a step forward.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's something cool. And I got into Yu-Gi-Oh. Some other things that I'm learning about Yu-Gi-Oh, which is another crazy world of cards. But there's some huge value to the same stuff that we love. We talk about the '90s inserts with basketball. There's a huge love for like '90s and early 2000 Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh that people collect, and they're about it. So we should embrace that. I feel like we should have fun with it. I can't tell you how many times I've traded like rare basketball for Pokemon, and done stuff on the forum sites, and people are like, I can't believe you're trading me, Otani for Charizard or whatever it might be. Like that, it's the culture that we live in, and I think we just need to embrace it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to eat humble pie too with a lot of the modern stuff. Like most people know, I stick pretty strictly to the '90s basketball and early 2000s. But I mean, like you said, just being in the culture and being around people who are passionate about what they collect, it kind of like it's almost infectious to like see what they do and why they do it. Like recently, I've gotten really into Revolution basketball, mostly.
Nice.
It's got the connection to '90s
Galactic. Yeah.
I'm like so hyped on those cards right now. It's insane. And I never, a year ago, I would have been like, why would I do this? It's Panini. Why would I do that? But now I'm like, sort of in the community of the people that like it, and then it's got me excited.
Yeah. As a card store owner, like I get a chance to like, I don't know, see trends and encourage people to like venture into basketball who are like, nah, I'm only into football, and that's actually really cool. And I think the breaking world, as much as flack, I think old school shop owners will give the breaking world has opened up doors for basketball, football, baseball, whatever cross, in between, where somebody before would never ever consider joining a break like that, but now they do, right? So
I'm glad you're in the Pokemon, dude. Keep it up. I'm really bullish about Pokemon long term, and I could do a whole video about that. But you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and you have an upcoming interview. I won't steal the thunder, but you have another big guy with Pokemon coming. I'm not a big guy, but you have a big guy coming up.
Yeah, dude. Like you said, it's the perfect time right now for the people that collected at that age coming in with disposable income, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
and they've stayed extremely relevant with Pokemon Go and a whole bunch of other myriad of reasons. So now let's flip to the sort of negative side for a sec. What's the hardest part about being a dealer, or some of like the downers that you face?
Oh man,
you can keep this one short.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to maybe elaborate on too, because I think people need to see that side of collecting too, and need to understand the side of a dealer.
Yeah.
People come in trying to swindle me all the time. You know what I mean? They come in trying to hustle, and it's good when to spot a fake or whatnot. But it sucks when maybe someone did you one over or looked to stick it to you. I had a buddy who just recently bought a huge Magic collection. Everything was fake, and he's one guy who's an OG, and like he's been around for 30 years, and he was so pissed. He actually like stopped selling Magic in his store because of it. He was just so mad. And I think that side comes out a lot where people are looking to get one over on you. This happens at the National a lot too, and I get it. I understand why, because I think you have to go guarded into maybe a deal or whatnot. But it sucks because the majority of people have that kind of coming into a deal. Um, I enjoy people, and hopefully maybe I can kind of break that down when you meet me, or when I get to talk to you, or you come to our store. Like, I'll have fun talking to you about sports or whatever it might be. Um, that's definitely a dark side. I think I mentioned it earlier with the wax and the allocations, and how it's just becoming a huge, like, the local card shop is. I feel like we should be out with little signs, right? Picketing, like, save the local card shop.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It's a tough world, and that's okay. Like, I'm glad that I need to work hard on my business. I think that's gonna teach me a lot in the long term. Teach me a lot about my character. Teach me a lot about what I believe in, what I stand for. Um, but for the long term, I hope the local card shop stays around, or some form of it. I think, like, the online community, there's an element we've lost with breaking, with trading,
Yep.
with talking about sports, with chilling with people, with getting to know somebody, at lunch, and just getting to know people. So that is the dark side that I do see. Um, and then there's also the side, I think, now, where maybe you've heard this too in some of your other interviews, or you've heard this just kind of running into people, is just like, we're such a, like, instant society, right? So, like, everything is like I have to have it right now, and so people become, like, very obsessive about cards. And I've seen this before, where people spend, like, their savings, on whatever it might be, and they become so obsessed about it. Or, for example, um, eBay, Amazon, whatever medium you buy on. My card's mint. You actually list the card as mint, and the card is actually, like, damaged, and you knew it, or whatever. So just something that's very, sneaky and conniving. I list tons of cards, so it's like, I know I might miss a card here or there, and if you were to message me, I'd be like, dude, here's your money back. And a lot of times I'm like, here's your card for free. It doesn't bother me, because I'm glad that you took the time to message me, and didn't just take this one, on, and just, I think that's the dark side we've come into, is everybody wants everything so quickly. They want to list everything so quickly that they miss, like, the quality aspect of cards. Um, I think grading, in a way, has kind of helped that. In a way, also, it's kind of hurt that. So I'll leave it at that. I don't want to be too dark.
Yeah, we just got to keep harping on, like, the community side of it, and
Sure.
the connection between the people exchanging the cards, right? That's the whole part of the fun of it. It's almost like, once I get a card, it's like the fun part's over, right? I've got it. It's in my PC. That was that. Now it's time to, like, move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So we really have to, like, really encourage the community part of the trades, and the cards moving hands.
Yeah. And just, like, this is one other side to it as well. Like, okay, so you have your network, you have the people to reach out to. Um, don't hold that. You know what I mean? Don't keep that, because I think there's a lot of times when I've introduced somebody to somebody, in the back of my mind, I think,
Mm.
oh man, maybe I've just lost a sale, or that person's never going to deal with me, or they're going to buy from this guy outside of the store, whatever. But at least I've set that up, and it's, I think, further collecting a little bit further. Like, that person now can buy with this person, and maybe they buy and trade with each other. I don't necessarily reap the benefits of that, but I get to see that, and I hopefully create a fun atmosphere. And I think people know they can come to me to help them network, or find this or find that. So, yeah, I think you're on point, man, with that.
I try to do that. I try to do that today. I actually have a guy at work that's getting into collecting, and he's big into Packers stuff, football. And one of my buddies that I collect LeBron with, he also does Packers, but we never talk about it. Or he has a lot of Rodgers stuff. We never talk about it. And I'm like, hey, you guys should, like, talk about Rodgers, and you guys go crazy. And I have no idea what you're talking about, but, like, we'll talk about LeBron. You guys talk about Packers, and then we'll sort of all, like, converge at the end somewhere.
You have some vermin of a cheese head on your head or
Yeah,
something.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Let,
Yeah.
let's finish with a crazy story. There's no way you don't have some crazy stories, especially just being cards 24/7.
Oh man, there's just so many. I mean, I can think of probably like 6, 7 different examples of where, as a dealer, this is kind of funny. I might sell a collection or sell a lot, and then I'll be buying that same lot back in like 6 months. And you're, like, looking through the cards, and you're like, Like this is like I've owned these. You might, and this has happened to me before. I bought my card on eBay with a sticker tag that I've written on, um, where you're just like, how did this get to California? How did this get to Oregon? Like, why am I buying this card from Thailand? Like, and you see it, and you're just like, it's just this funny world we live in, right? I think one of the coolest stories I've had recently is so I mentioned a big basketball collection I made purchased last year. I bought it from a guy who lived in Merritt Island, Florida. I grew up in a place called Rockledge, Florida. His wife turns out to be somebody who knew people that I knew in high school, and I met him on Blowout. Made a deal with him, and it was a lot of these like interconnections or whatever. But the cool thing was he had a Jordan 84-85 Star 101 in a team bag, and it's one of those cards, right, where it's in the team bag. If you know the Star card, the true people call it the true Jordan rookie card. You can't take it out of the team bag because if you do, you're ruining the team bag, right? You're ruining that idea because you have to literally cut the bag. It's sealed. So I was like, we did the deal, and actually we didn't do the deal because he didn't want to give it to Jordan. So I said to him, I was like, listen, let's do the deal for all this other stuff, and we'll split the Jordan. And that was cool for him, right? So last year in Chicago, I had the Jordan, and it was in the team bag. And I talked to him, and I said, listen, I think we need to cut this out. And I think we need to try and grade it. I think this card looks really fresh. It looks good on the front. The corners look great. I have a pretty good grading eye. I'm not perfect, but I have a pretty good grading eye. And we had thought it'd probably be like an 8-ish, BGS 8. I don't know, $6,000 at that time, $7,000. And I'm sitting there cutting out of a bag. I'm shaking. I'm like literally sweating. My autonomic system is like, and I'm just sitting there with this card, and I'm like, I flip it over, and I just see the bag because you're destroying history in a way, right? Right. Yeah. When you cut open this 84 bag, and you flip it over, and then there's this card that's unearthed, and the back of the card, I mean, you could eat off of, and it was so clean. It was centered even better on the back, and I just was like, holy smokes! And that was, I remember picking up that penny sleeve and thinking like, I gotta get this in here, and so I finally did it. I was so nervous. We submitted it. Long story short, it came back a BGS 9. So it went from like an 8. That pop report is like 62 on it. I think there's only 3 9.5s. So it went from like a $8,000 card that we were split on to that time in Chicago in that year. The last one had sold for like 33,000. And so it was one of those things where it was just like really, really cool to be a part of. Chicago was a great event. And then so we take the card and we hold it for a little bit. So we actually wound up holding it for an entire year because I hadn't got the right. And I'm sitting here now at a year later, this past national in Cleveland, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to sell this card. I'm split owners on this. We want to move this card. How are we going to do it? Sunday comes around. This guy comes up. I won't tell where he's from just because he probably wants to keep it. It's his card. Sunday comes around, and I'm not kidding you. It was 5 o'clock. Everybody was late. Like everyone was packed up leaving. I'm sitting there with this guy looking at him face to face with a display case in front of us, trying to finalize the deal. And it took me 3 hours, longest time I'd ever done it. But the long story short, at the end of it all, I sold the card to him, and I wound up getting a nice sum of money. And then I wound up getting these other 3 cards, which have just become like really cool to me. Like I thought, like, I don't know if I even want to trade these anymore. So the Ben Simmons, the gold autograph out of 10 from the Upper Deck in 2018. So this is from the national packs, Upper Deck packs. So this is a gold. I got a grade 9.510. I got this card, which I love so much. This is the Penny. This is the LeBron Kobe dual autograph out of Upper Deck MVP.
Sounds
the
cool.
Green. Yeah, really hard to grade these cards. Very tough. 10 autograph. They're both on there. You have the Kobe blue, and then Kobe gold, LeBron blue ink. And so this has been a card I just like, maybe I just hold this card because we know the prices of these kind of cards. And then the third card, which is a card I've never seen before, just a really fun card. I posted this on Instagram. It's the Gretzky jackpot with Griffey, Woods, and LeBron on the bottom. Yeah. So I was able to get like some personal collection cards, in there. Hopefully that focuses real nice for you guys to see. It's one of 2, right? So it's just a cool card. I love this card now because it's like, I don't even want to grade this card. Let's keep it out. I mean, what's going to make this card even better?
Right.
So I have these like 3 cards, and a lot of people will say to me like, well, aren't you gonna flip them? And it's like, you know what? For like that story, why don't I just hold these cards? You know,
Yeah.
they're great holds. They're fun cards. They're cool to show. Maybe I'll trade them with somebody one day. You know, maybe it'll be really fun to like hook up a kid that's been a part of the store for a couple years or whatever. You know, but for me, that was like one of the most cool stories because it was like almost a year and a half in the making.
Yeah.
Moved a huge card, and I can't tell you how many times people were like, "I can't believe they didn't move it last year, Chicago, for this much or this much or this much." When the truth is, I got about that much out of it. I had to take some trade in it, and of course, me and the guy split it. But I don't know. It was just kind of a fun experience for me. Um, Enjoyed it a lot. Enjoyed that process. I enjoy meeting people at the national every year, and I'm bringing up the national again. Just tons of guys. There's a guy named Helga who's from Germany, and he always comes with everybody knows Croatian twins. Kiki, Kiki, do you love me? Kiki and I did a deal for this. The Vince Carter. This is the 99 2000 Black Label 101.
What?
And yeah, we just did a really cool. This is really hard to see the 101. This is where the
Yeah.
101 is.
It's like great on the top right.
Yeah, it's like great, right? So like Carter was like one of my boys. He's from Daytona, right? So like so iconic to me, Vince Carter. So iconic his dunk, like everything that we watched with basketball in the '90s, early 2000s. I just love that card. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those cards that I don't really want to give up. You know what I mean? Just hold on to it. So there is a side to dealers that I think I enjoy cards still, and I think don't be turned off by people who may quote unquote be a dealer or a shop owner.
Yeah.
We enjoy it, man. We really do. I talk to other guys; they have their own little personal stash. They keep stuff. They enjoy it. A big thing that I'm big on right now is 101 Brady's. I'll show a couple here. This is a 101 Brady patch from '04. I have a 101 Brady. I don't know for you card people, it's in the security deposit box, but it's a 101 Brady from '03. It's from Certified. It's a true 101. This is a little tidbit for you guys out there. I think Brady from 2000 to 2003, he only has 16 true one of ones. So outside of plates and outside of like promos, he's only got that many. So think about that for a second. The GOAT only has that many 101s in those first 4 years. I think he has 2 101s his rookie year. I forget the whole, I looked it up one time. But just kind of stuff like that I've been able to pick up some early Brady 101s. Just want to hold on to that stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's cool. It's so rare. You're never going to see it again. So I do enjoy cards, man. I really do. And I hope you guys know that. Keep pushing on. Keep enjoying the hobby. Get your collect on, as I like to say to people. Get your collect on with people, you know, and vibe and enjoy cards, enjoy sports. It doesn't always have to be about eBay sale values.
Yeah.
I get tired of that word, man. So, yeah, those are just a couple things that I wanted to show. I mean, cards always come through. I'm always looking to trade with people. I love trading online. You can always find our store, shop, meelypops.com. Instagram, we're on Shop Meelypops. Facebook, we do a lot on as well, just the Meelypops shop. But yeah, love to hear from you. Love to, if you're looking for something specific, you know, I'm down here in the South. There are a lot of people, for example, who we meet, the snowbirds. I'm not sure if you know that term. That's a term we have in Florida.
Oh, it's big here too, Arizona.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's tons of it here. Golf.
Yeah. They flock down,
Yep.
and sometimes I meet a lot of people who will come down with collections, different kind of teams. For example, in the Northeast, I get a lot of Yankees and Boston stuff. Like I'm in Gainesville, Florida. Just stuff like that. And I'm starting to hopefully build an understanding across platforms with Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, like I was talking about earlier, gaming. Actually, something I just got into, which I didn't mention earlier, was Funko Pops. You know what a Funko Pop is?
Yeah.
Funko Pops I thought were like Beanie Babies for a second. I was like, man, these are going to be the next Beanie Babies. I don't want anything to do with them. There's a cool community with Funko Pops, man. I don't really get it. I'm not big into it. But the same way we like collect, rare chases, rare short prints, they have that stuff with Funkos, and people are diehard, man. And so don't be afraid to get into different mediums and trade with people. Have fun with it.
All right, dude. I'm not gonna try to like top anything you just said, so we'll just cut it short. Cut it here. This was great, dude. I really hope this gets your name out in the community more, and like I said, increases empathy for dealers and brings you some more business. Honestly, I hope that happens. So I really enjoyed having you on, and appreciate all the time you spent with me, and this was great.
Hey, I gotta tell you one quick story. Is You know, my first pair of true basketball kicks. You know what they were? They were
The foam posits.
Air Penny twos,
Yeah.
foam posits. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
White on blue, I think it was.
Those are the best
Um,
ones.
oh, dude, I love them. I love them. So, hey, man, Josh, props to you, man. Keep this up. I love this channel. I love what you're doing, and just don't people out there subscribe to his channel and like check out the videos in here. You'll learn a lot if you're getting into collecting. It's dope, and you're gonna learn a lot from just some of the upcoming guys he has too. So I'm just a small fish in the pond, man. But if I can help you in any way, let me do that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
See ya.
All right, man. Later.
Later.